Right, today's the 18th of July 2025. CRAZII Market Talk with KEL. Are you using CRAZII? Is our new tagline. So, thing is this: a lot of people now is in this Vietnam is trying out our CRAZII system. Recently, I worked with one considerable mid-sized VC in Vietnam, Hanoi, and they got about 50 plus leaders coming in to learn about CRAZII, and now they are using it quite vibrantly in their own community. And I believe that moving forward, there will be more people joining us. All right, and of course, we will be sharing about market views very shortly. And of course, after that, we will be okay. Hey, hold on, hold on. There's something. Okay, oops. Okay, there's something wrong in my site now. For a minute. Okay, later on, and I will be sharing with you the Bitcoin, how I think Bitcoin will be moving in the later part. All right, now before that itself, right, disclaimer applied as usual. I'm having some PowerPoint issue at the moment, so I apologize on that. Okay, so assuming that this is still not the most stable internet connection. Okay, all right, doesn't matter. Let's just now look at the main news first, yeah? Okay, let's look at the main news for today. Very important to do the macro as usual. Now, the S&P 500 rises to new closing record, all right, boosted by the solid earnings and US economic data. So it seems that the US market is still very, very positive, all right, basically buoyant by the slew of this corporate earning release. Okay, so we saw the S&P now at 6297, very, very high to the 6300 that we talked about early this year. And we talked about the Nasdaq now breaching past 20,800 series, closing at 20,885. Now, the Dow Jones basically is still trying to go for the historical high at 45,000. We're about 500 points away. It is possible to reach there if the market continues the upside. Now, Pepsi Cola basically jumped by 7% based on the better than expected earning. United Airlines also gained by 3% after the airline beats earning estimate. Now, do note there are many companies that beat estimate because they basically watered down their estimate in the last quarter. So that's why when you basically bring your estimate at a lower end, you may have some stock reduction back then. But once the market goes back above the revisited what do you call, they readjusted the earnings downwards, right? And so the company started to do very well. The stock price has a reason to go back all the way to where it came from and even higher. So apparently now the S&P 500, right, 50 of them has released the report, and 88% actually exceeded the analyst expectation. So one thing to note is that the initial jobless claim for the week ending July, right, came out 221,000, a decrease of 7,000, but it's still above the 220,000. So when you focus on the reduction of 7,000, you may think that it's a positive one. But you look at the overall number, it's at 220,000. Actually, it's a very not a very good number. So it's again, it's half the half. When you look at the glass, is half filled or half empty. All right. So we all know that the retail sales grow, okay, by 0.6%, beating the 0.2%. Now, the retail sales go up is because everybody bought in above before the tariff. So that is why the sales went up. But again, since sales came in, it's good, right? So we all know that recently Donald Trump wanted to, release Jerome Powell, but of course after that he pulled back and said no. That's usually the case, and it's happening right now. Now, one thing about Japan, Japan core inflation cools in June as expected, down from the 29-month high as rice prices ease. I apologize on that. My voice is going out because I've been talking non-stop for days and days. Okay, so what happened is that the rice price have came off. Now, do not increase to 102% based on year, and now it's slightly lower from the 101. Okay, so telling you itself is that the rise from $7, okay, make $10 to $20. Now it reduced, now it's $19. So should we pop the champagne? Now, to me, this is really ridiculous, and it's very clear that Japan itself, right, although they are having a bit of inflation there, It's just a matter of time. It will go back up again, especially when the tariff hit Japan. And Japan's one of the best neighbor to US, but US still slapped them with a high tariff. So to me, all this tells you that, right, there will be a higher increase in food prices, in my opinion, by the end of 2025, December or next year. Now, Netflix performed well once again. They post earnings and beats revenue by 16% in the second quarter. And you can see right now that they have basically got in new shows in, and they are growing pretty nicely. Now this company now, this revenue is about 44 to 45 billion dollars, and it's slightly higher than the last quarter. So the thing is this right now, right? Interestingly, they have not updated the quarterly updates on the subscription data. So I think they are trying to, hold back certain thing. But nonetheless, this company is doing well. So for those who have been buying Netflix, you can take some profit later, yeah. But the thing is why there's a margin operation reduction, all right, because of the higher content amortization and also the sales and marketing. So that's why the share price, although the earnings was good, it was down by 1%. So it's not every time when earnings are good, you will have the share price going up, because it depends on the some of the aftermath, yeah. Now, one thing about Japan I missed out the sound is that it has fell. The export has fell for the second straight month with no U.S. trade deal in sight, raising recession fear. Now, there's something that we must understand this, because of the tariff right now, right? The export become difficult, and the yen appreciated in value. Now, I said this before: when a country they do export more than import and have their currency going up, right, it's not a good thing. I repeated many times to people don't get it, just think, how come I don't benefit? Because you must understand, when you do all the production here itself, and then you cannot sell to people because of the yen, or in higher currency, people don't want to buy, they'll find for alternative. And when that happens itself, right, that will become a problem. So that's why you can see right now, right, Japan has their this export going down, and now it shows that there's a possibility of raising recession fears once again. So let me just bring it down to the part here where it's about the recession part. Okay. Now, the Japan economy contracted in the first quarter of the year compared to the previous quarter due to the weakening export, and other contraction will see it meet the definition of technical recession. Now, I already said that we will see technical recession. All right, and I already said this, and it's really happening. Now, one thing is that my technical recession is actually based on the whole world. For the whole world, I believe that there will be a quarterly reduction or contraction by September or October when they release their quarterly GDP. So I believe that US will also go into a technical recession. All right, so this is why I feel that you just need to be more careful moving forward from now till September. I think that this is where it get a bit dicey, and I think that the market may actually comes down a little bit. Now, why is that so? Because you can see right now, this is the Buffett indicator, and now the total US stock valuation versus divided by the gross domestic product, which is the GDP. We can see right now the GDP is 29.51 trillion, and the current market valuation is about $59.1 trillion. So it's just very simple mathematics. You take the top and the bottom, divide by 2, you get your number, and we are now at 200%. Oh my God. 200% is what happened back then, and we know that the stock market after it fell by 30%. So of course, this is a indicator that Warren Buffett seemingly is advocating. And although there's a bit of pullback on the US stock market valuation now, but you can see overall itself is still very, very high. Though the GDP is growing, but it's not growing as fast as possible, and there is a significant movement downwards. You can see on the screen right now, there are 3 times. So the last time we saw this, draw it for you. Last time I saw this, it was back in 2007 and 8. That was where it contracted. The next time it was here, and that was in early 2020. And we all know that that was probably the start of the COVID period, and then all things just closed down by itself. Yeah. So all these are the reason why you see the GDP falling. And of course, you can see this is the 200% ratio of the market cap to GDP. It's definitely 57% higher than long-term average. Now you can see it's very far away. And usually you can see on the background after the pullback, it does go to the moving average. That's something I've been saying and saying. So if that's going to happen, right, the market has to go down all the way to probably below 5,800. So that is why the market is worried that, they rather the other countries are doing well than, US to collapse. That's how I see it from the angle. All right, so that is the fundamental part. All clear? If all clear, press number one right now. Okay, so now gold is now trading higher. Now, gold this morning, we can see that gold opening price is at 33.40 and the KSI was green. So in screen, sorry. And the KCX is black. So with these two combination itself today, as long as the gold stays above OP, it will be a buy for gold. Now, how many of you have bought gold? Have you bought gold? Can you key now? Have you bought? Okay, so if you let me see the message. Okay, bought a bit. Nigel, good job. Dennis, good job. All right, so gold is above OP, KSI is green. That is where you can basically buy big, or you just can buy normal size of your calculated value. Yeah. Okay, so the thing is this. Let me just bring it in. Gold right now is trading above the pivot one. That means it's broke the resistance. So the first target it will be the 3347 target, 3347. All right, that is the one that I'm looking at. Gold will be going 3347. All right, so that is the KCB, 3347.8. Now, if gold can stay above 3350 and a good number, I think gold could be heading towards 3391 next week. All right. So I'm still very bullish in gold. I think that gold will go up again. And I think that the KCX that was here in June has already formed the base level. So in the long haul, I think gold can actually go much higher. But at least for now, 3347 is the first target. Then 3391 will be the second target. All right. Okay, so y'all bought Goa, Nigel, and Dennis happen to be halfway point of OP and KTR plus one. Yep, okay, cool. All right, so that is goal for you guys. And of course, if you look at the chart and if I minimize the whole movement, take a look, everybody. Okay, you can see that gold has the KCX blinking here and here, and this was the base. This is the second base, so that means that there is a very high chance that gold should be able to go up again. So I think that gold is a buy today. So look into that right now. Okay, so now for this is the Dow Jones, right? I know Dow Jones is very, very interesting. Now, Dow Jones, as you can see on your screen, has been sideways for quite a while it went through a selling wave and a buying wave. The buying wave itself didn't really come out much. In fact, the price came down a bit, but of course, it rebounded as equally fast. All right, then of course, the KSI was red initially. There was some pullback, and then now it's just stabilized. So in short, right now, right, Dow Jones is basically hanging in the mid drift. And the thing is this, at the moment now, there's no indication that we're high, although it could be hitting. So the upside, if you look at the screen, the upside it maybe can go all the way to the 45,027 KCB. All right, but of course it has to break above 44,630. All right, because that is the KCB target. And after that, only when you go higher, you'll be going for the pivot one at 44,858. Now the boys are buying, the retails are also buying, so it's very difficult for the market to come down unless the market breaks below OP. Now, if the market breaks below OP, then yes, indeed, the selling should be able to bring it down to here, which is the MA30 at 43,982. Now, where are we right now again? We're at 44,558. So I think that if the market do pull back, about 600 points sell off is very, very high potential. So, but the boys are all buying, the sell buys or sell retails are all buying, so the market downside itself going to be limited. Yeah, so trader take note of that. Okay, we're done on the Dow Jones. Let's look at the next market that we can look at for. It will be the crude oil. Now, why I bring crude oil? I think one glance of the eye, you know that basically I like the momentum movement. The market price came down, but the KSI stayed green. So very, very clear that if crude oil is to go up, right, it will go back up to 68.99. I repeat, 68.99. Okay, so if the market goes past 68.99, all right, you may even you may go even higher to all the way to the $78 plus. Okay, so what's look out for is that today it has to break above 68.02. That's a pivot one, and then my target for today or Monday will be 68.99, because I believe that the big boys are buying, and when they are buying and when the price goes up, what they're buying, it shows that there will be higher upside in the coming future. I know that the fundamental doesn't really go for it. In fact, most fundamental says that because of the dollar that's rising, that's why the gold price is coming down, and because of this other factors. But the thing is, this to me, if that say the things are going fine, or I think that and the dollar's going up while it's supposed to go down, then it's a time to go like to buy gold in anticipation when the dollar fall. Then you can see that gold going up very fast. What do you think? Do you think it makes sense here? You think it makes sense here? Press number 2 right now. Okay. All right. So that is for crude oil. So watch out for crude oil. Let's do some currency. It's been a while. Now, currency market today for pivot, sorry, for dollar yen, there's no pivot. Yeah, I repeat, there's no pivots for dollar yen. Okay, for today. So the OP will make the choice. If the OP now you can see is that 148.529, that means that the yen is improving. That means the dollar is coming down. So that's why you can see that the gold rebounded earlier, and crude oil also coming up, right? So because the dollar now start to depreciate in value. Now, why is it going down? Not too sure what's the reason. So today KSI is also great. So that will confirm that if you're selling the dollar yen, once you break MLP, it should be able to reach a KCB very easily at about, let me just take a look at the price. At 14780. Okay, so if the market comes down, it may break the KCB, and after break down KCB, it may go down to MA 200, and if that happen again, it may go all the way down to 146. So that's why you can see that, if you miss this trade, you're gonna miss a lot next week itself. Yeah, okay, so that is why. Okay, let's do one more before we go for a short break. Now this is euro. I want to show something very, very important to you. Okay, so this is the euro. As you can see, the price was surging all the way up right at the middle and the start of the month. And then after that, it tends to CCYR, and the selling came all the way down. Okay. All right. So you can see that on the way up, the boys were heavily buying. On the way down, some of the boys were buying, but when the thing turned red, the selling accelerated, right? No, it's like a free fall, right? Because the thing is this, where the market was going up, so the boys have been buying all the way. So now the thing is just a bit of a pullback. They can come back in and push up the market themselves. Yeah, it's all possible. Okay, guys, so let's just take a short 1 to 2 minutes break. Don't leave away from the Zoom session. We'll continue from here itself. All right, we'll talk about the Bitcoin market and why I think Bitcoin is going to go to 130,000, and some even say it's 150 to 180. All right, we'll talk about this shortly. Thank you. Bye bye. Don't leave the group chat. Yeah, don't leave. Yeah.